Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
This is the closing bell on the Stock Movers Report. The companies making moves at the close of U.S. trading with Carol Massar, Tim Stenovec, Romaine Bostick, and Scarlet Fu.
All right, guys, let's get to some of the individual movers. Let's start with the gainers. Jabil Circuit, that is the number one gainer in the S&P 500. Shares jumping to a record in today's session after the manufacturing services company reported third quarter results that beat expectations. The company also raising its full year forecast. That stock up just shy of 13% at its highs today, finishing the day with a gain of 8.9% on a tear, I should point out, this year overall. It's up about 40% here in 2025. Another outperformer, Fluence Energy, ticker is FLNC. It's about a $1 billion market cap, energy storage products and services and digital applications for renewables and storage company. That's a mouthful. Stock at its high, up about 19%, settling in, though, at the close with a gain of about 13%. The Senate Finance Committee coming out, releasing its version of a budget reconciliation bill that JPMorgan analysts believe is positive for energy storage firms, not for another group of the energy world. I think Tim might touch on that in just a moment. But this stock, I should point out, even with that 13% gain today, is down more than 60% year to date, with about 40% of the float shorted. So some negative sentiment out there, maybe some short covering in today's session. One more name for you, certainly an outperformer, Verve Therapeutics, up almost 82% here at the close. Eli Lilly, of course, agreeing to buy this gene editing startup for about $1.3 billion. They're going to pay as much as about $13.50 a share, the company said today. That was a more than 115% premium to the closing price of Verve yesterday. And I got to say, crazy thing is, the move not to its highest level ever for shares of Verve. It was once a $73 a share stock back in 2021. Wow. Today closing under $12 a share. So I just thought a little perspective there.
Okay, you got the gainers, Carol. I got the decliners. I want to start with shares of T-Mobile falling 4% today. The company shares fell after we learned that SoftBank sold around $4.8 billion of stock. The move helps fund the Japanese company's plans for AI. They sold 21.5 million T-Mobile shares for $224 each. It priced at the bottom of a $224 to $228 range. So certainly some selling pressure on T-Mobile today. Also, solar stocks under pressure today. This is the Invesco Solar ETF, ticker TAN, down 9%. But that kind of masks some of the big moves that the companies within this ETF made. I mean, we're talking about companies such as Sunrun down 40% in a single day. SolarEdge Technologies down 33% today. Enphase Energy down 24%. First Solar down 18%. These U.S. solar companies fell after Senate Republicans released a bill that would end clean energy tax credits earlier than expected. It dashed hopes that major cuts passed by the House wouldn't stick. I did look up on the screen and saw you were speaking to an analyst about this exact thing a little earlier in the program.
Yeah, so he was
optimistic,
saying that,
pessimistic. What did he say?
I mean, he said it was worse. I mean, the House bill was worse than the Senate bill.
Okay.
And that there are other things that could continue to boost residential solar, but that market will be smaller and that growth will be smaller. Now, utilities and solar is very different. They still get the tax credits. They sign those purchase power agreements. It's that residential solar, and that's why Enphase is getting hit so hard. That's the problem.
Yeah, just a brutal day for some of these stocks. Finally, JetBlue having a terrible day as well. Shares fell close to 8%. The company said it plans to hasten cost cuts by eliminating some flights. It plans to end service to a number of cities and restructure its leadership ranks as economic uncertainty feeds weaker than expected demand for travel. I have a lot of questions about where this company is going to be going. We're going to speak to Mary Schlangenstein in just a few minutes on our program about the outlook for JetBlue.
Yeah, I think they're also probably a little concerned about that as well. So where do you go in an environment like this? You go to the bond market, particularly the long end. You're seeing yields come in by about 5-6 basis points. Even the 2-year is down by about 2 basis points. There was also a tweet from Nick Timrose of the Wall Street Journal, of course, that sort of avenue being the Fed whisperer in essence, saying that the Fed board announces an open meeting to discuss a proposed revision to the supplementary leverage ratio standards at 2 p.m. next Wednesday. So if the SLR, is rolled back in any form, that could mean potential more buying and holding from banks because they don't have to count that against their leverage and their pot of cash, basically. So that could be good for the Treasury market.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.